We can start.
Okay.
Hold on a second. All right, we are live. So, good afternoon, everybody. Tonight we're going to talk about English job interviews here at Talk and Talk Immersion. It's June 25th, 6:18 p.m., right? 6, no. Oh, yes, 6:18 p.m. So tonight I have my friends here, Camila, Thiago, and Pedro, and we will discuss a little bit about this important matter. First of all, let me introduce myself real quick. This is Leandro. I am 30. I forgot my own age again, 34. Yeah, this is a sign of. So I am 34 years old. I live here in Santa Catarina, Florianópolis, specifically Palhoça, right? And I work with IT infrastructure, and I've been here for a long time. I can say more than 2 or 3 years. I don't recall off the top of my head right now. So we have the questions, and I would like to ask Tiago the first question. Tiago, please introduce yourself and tell us, would you do a job interview in English? Why or why not?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. And well, my name is Thiago Lara. Um, I live in Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais. Uh, I'm 39 years old, almost 40. And yes, life is go on and go fast. Mm, I'm commercial analyst in a tech company, and but I was graphic design and teacher, Portuguese teacher, not anymore, and engineer, civil engineer in the past, but not anymore. I have a lot of of, of formation, a lot of roles, and I would definitely, okay. I like dogs. I have one dog. My dog's name is Stell. I love dogs, every kind of dogs. Um, about the question, definitely do. Uh, I would definitely do an interview, job interview in English. I'm currently I B1 B1 level in English and improve every day. Okay, every day is not really, it's not true. I I'm out of English lessons 2 months, 3 months, and I'm back now since now. And okay, uh, even if I'm not fluent yet, I see interview in English as an opportunity to challenge myself and grow professionality. Professionally, I think English is essential to new positions, new level in job environment. I think it's that.
Oh, awesome. I don't recall you. I believe we have probably talked before at this
Yeah,
immersion, right?
two, three
But
times.
cool.
I
But
I I I I I ever hide my background and academically. How?
yeah, that's why.
Because I'm not proud of the because I have a lot of frustration in my life
Don't
personality. It's,
don't
yes,
say don't say that, man. You have a lot of experience, actually, at
yes,
least from my
yeah.
point of view. From my point of view. So
I studied architecture, but I'm not concluded that. But I'm studying yet.
when you said
Congratulations.
when you
Yeah,
said when you said that you love dogs, that you love animals, I was afraid that you would say, I am a veterinarian. No, thanks God. You no. Yeah, because you have all the professions in this.
Oh, calm down, man.
But man,
Yeah,
being a teacher, a Portuguese teacher, is being a hero in this
yeah,
country, right?
yes,
I don't know if you have worked with kids, with teenagers, but
yes,
man, this is so unfair, at least from my point of view. Like if you goes viral on TikTok or if you are a kind of influencer, you can earn millions, but if you want to teach someone else something valuable, if you want to make the difference in someone else's lives, you don't have any recognize, you don't have any rewards.
yeah,
You are doing the right thing in the wrong place, I would say.
yes, yes. It's very difficult. It's very hard.
And we have to survive. So I understand in your in if I was in your position, I wouldn't totally understand
Mm,
changing the route. I don't know, trying something different. So don't be shy. Don't feel ashamed
yes.
for your background. Okay?
I lo- by the way, I love study F kind of stuff. Now I'm study. Uh, how to say webnets? Ah, não. Em português, redes de computadores. I,
Networks,
networks, yes, networks. Webnets,
com,
networks,
com,
networks.
computer network.
Yes, and public administration.
You know
Also
what?
graduation.
You know what? If you are studying networks, computer networks, and if you know how to teach, at least in IT environment, you have a good chance, you know. But also, I believe it's hard to survive trying to teach in this country. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. But man, it's nice to meet you again because
Yeah,
now we
nice to
are
meet you.
now we are
Everyone, nice to
yes.
meet you.
Awesome. It's nice to have you here. So, Pedro, I already know you, but please introduce yourself and tell us what would you do a job interview in English? Why or why not?
All right, I will try to introduce myself like in more professional way. So my name is Pedro Rezende. I am from Pouso Alegre, but nowadays I live near from Thiago. I live in a little city that called Joatuba. It's near from the capital Belo Horizonte. I was graduation on design at 2023. But when I was finished my graduation, I found the UX area because I was a little frustrated with graphic design in general, and I found this area of design, and I tried to specialize a little bit into this area. And after I took a course in UX boot camp, I could move to this area. But nowadays, I like it's similar from the Thiago. I am the bank area, like the regular one, because all right, I when I start to go in the market and things like that, I perceive like I don't have like a big component in my curriculum. So I decided to get a step away, like I was junior in this area, and I like to like step away and got into a trainee program and he get into a big company, and after that he moved back into the area that I like the UX and the product area. And then nowadays I work for 7 months in a bank area, but I'm liking because like deal with the public is not easy and is like real dynamic my activities. But I mean appreciate, but all right, I want to get back into my area of products too. That is. And about the job interview, of course, I was just forgot about the part of the question. I believe like nowadays I'm not supposed to took so much interviews in English because it's not my principal goal. But I remember when I was into the job market and things like that. I took some interviews in English, and the guys, the first one was terrific because I had some certification like into Cambridge, and in the interview I just say that I have a certification, but I never practice after I finish my English course. And in the middle of the interview, the hunter just say, "All right, but let's switch the interview to Portuguese to English. You got that?" And for me was so much challenge because I was not expecting that. But when I perceive like how difficult speaking other language when you are not practicing, I decided I had to do something to improve my English. And after that, I found the Talk Talk, and since that, I try to improve myself into this platform.
Oh, if you allow me to disagree to you, I believe right now, if you are not looking for a job, it's the perfect time to practice, to have as much interviews as you want, because you don't have the pressure that you need a new job, so you can understand your position in the market, you can understand your strengths and your weaknesses. So this can be a good strategy to you, and all of a sudden you can find a good opportunity, something that it's really life-changing to you. And oh, I'm here in the right place, the right time. So if I was you, I would do as much as English interviews as I can. It's my honest opinion. And who am I to say to you, Thiago, that to talk anything about your career, to say to you, Pedro, anything about career, but it's easier to people that are outside of our situation to give their opinions like I'm doing right now, right? And well, speaking of that, Camila, can you please introduce yourself and answer the first question to us?
Yeah, let's go. Oh, for me, this topic it is my life in this moment. All this topic is for me. Yesterday, I was with Pedro here in Talking Talk, and it was very, very difficult for us because the topic is about a board game. But we got. And today the topic for me is so easy because I spent every day in the last months talking about job interview English. And because of this, I'm here. So I am 40 years old. I am from a countryside and a city, a countryside from São Paulo. The name is Pirassununga. Today I am in Campinas. I came here to take care of pets, so I love pets too. And talking about my professional career, I am a public relation. I have worked in a big company, the major company of the odontology in the world. In my last 2 years, I worked to launch a new product here in the local market. The name is Sure Smile. It's a kind of aligner. Probably do you know Invisalign? So it's a competitor for Invisalign. And I give up of my career in the last year because I didn't want to live in São Paulo anymore. I needed to travel. I needed to know me more. I don't want this kind of life that I had there in São Paulo. And I needed to come back to my city. I don't have more my house. I don't have more my car. In the last year, I needed to stop a little and think what I can do to work, to win money, but to work with a purpose. And this year, I discovered that probably I needed to work in international marketing. And I started to look for this position. Because of this, I'm here in Talk Talk because nowadays, probably every week, I have a job interview in English. And it is very difficult, guys, for me. It's very difficult because for me to do an interview in Portuguese, and when I needed to talk about my what I'm good, what my skills, what I like in Portuguese is simple. And I can do this. I have this. I think I am a very good communication person. So for me, it's easier to talk about me and to show me and to pass a confidence. Confidence? Probably I don't know, but it's easier. But when I need to speak in English and to show my skills in English and to show what I did in the past in my work in English, it's very hard. Uh, and in the last interviews that I participated in, probably I will not so good because of this. But for example, how no like I started to practice more in the last month. For example, I participated in two interviews that I was very very well, and I passed to the next steps because now I'm practicing every day. I'm trying more. Now I can study more about my career in English. Leandro in the last week took me a lot of tips what I can do to put how to say this notes about my career. So on Saturday, for example, I participated a webinar with a lot of people, everyone looking for a international position, and it was very nice because there are a lot of recruiters talking with us what I need to do, and so I'm here every day studying, trying, and looking for a job. I
You
think
know
it
what?
is.
The funny thing is that we are not making less mistakes. We are not being perfect here. We are losing the fear of try. You know what I mean? Something like, of course, it's so much easier to speak here. It's a comfortable environment, but not that comfortable because we are live on YouTube. We are sharing our personal life. Of course, we are hiding some details. We are not giving everything that easy, but at the same time, it's hard to us to express ourselves. It's hard to us to present ourselves, to introduce ourselves to everybody here. And we are doing it every immersion, you know what I mean? And then I believe it's a matter of practice. Do you remember, Camila, that I asked you what's the difference to you between Portuguese and English? And the
Yeah.
difference is that you are practicing Portuguese for at least
Yeah.
3 decades, right? While English, in my case, I am practicing for just 1.5 decade. And we have people that are starting from scratch right now. So it's a matter of practice. And that's why I have shared with you these 3 tips here that I shared again on our chat. The first one is Renan Galindo Lorenzo, that Lorenzo. He's
I am following her. I'm following
cool,
her. Yeah,
awesome.
it's very nice.
Yeah, he is I would say an influencer in that kind of international jobs. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
influencer, but he's a reference, I would say. And
Yeah.
also, Gia's in Canada. She's a girl that's living in Canada and she's a tech recruiter, I guess. So she shares a lot of content on Instagram, like in English interviews, dialogues, because to me it was hard in the past to find some references, you know what I mean? So I needed to see how people express the same thing that I want to express. Like when Thiago said, "Oh, I'm studying networks." Yeah, but what's the terminology? As the girl in the video said, try to learn and try to speak the terminology. I know what is an IP address, right? I know what is a MAC address, but I don't know how to say, how to talk about it, how to talk about the particularities around an IP address, you know what I mean? So speaking specifically of computer networks, right? And also I have shared this Google tool. It's called English
Yeah,
interview warm up. It's
this I didn't have it. I've lost this. I lost this website, and now I saved it in favorite.
yeah,
But
bookmark it. Yeah.
this Instagram is very nice because she lives in Vancouver, and I
Vancouver.
love Vancouver, so it's very nice.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. So, uh, and it's hard because do you remember in the beginning of our conversation I mentioned, look, we are flooded with that amount of information of stimuli. Like we have a content with big words, capital letters, a lot of colors, no pause, but we have been getting input all of our lives, you know. We watch legendados movies, subtitle movies in English, but subtitles in Portuguese from since we are teenagers, right? So we've been exposed of a long time for a long time, and we are always consuming content in English. The problem is the output, what we are, how we are organizing all that the vocabulary we have, all that ideas we have, and trying and showing to our mind how to make that movement, our mouth movement to pronounce is a little bit different from our native language. So in from my point of view, this is the hardest part. This is the hardest to being alone because it's a lonely journey, at least from my in my case. I have nobody to practice around me. Like in all my family, nobody speaks English. Only my wife speaks Spanish, so at least that point I have like a reference. But it's hard when we are together. We want to talk in our native language, right? And it's a lonely journey. I don't know from you. I believe Camilo, you mentioned that you are the only one person in your family that speaks English. I don't know
Yeah,
Pedro and Thiago.
yeah.
So, and we have even if we. I don't know from you, but in my case, sometimes I'm ashamed of speaking English or Spanish in front of my family. I don't know why. It makes no sense at all, but I feel like
I don't have it. I don't have it because
mm,
they don't want to understand any words.
yeah, it's something that makes no sense at all, but I don't know. All right, so I've taken some notes from the video that we watched, and of course, she was speaking really fast. It was hard to get any information, but I've taken some notes. Like she said, that's gonna make more impact. I like it, that phrase. Or she's kind of seem down, or how they like their role, or speak with the same terminology, or we are judgmental characters. And finally, people like people that gives calm. I lost that last part. So I will share with you these phrases that I've taken, and I believe we can jump to the second question. And Pedro, do you mind read and answer the second question to us?
All right. What kind of questions do you expect in a job interview? So in my opinion, in the beginning, I believe like job interviews just based like what are your skills and things like that. But when I got more interviews, I perceive like the interviewer wants to know about yourself, not not just about your skills. You have to show like your history and how your history will connect about the role and the about the vision, the mission, the all that things all of the enterprise has. So I believe like a kind of questions could be like not just about like some regular ones like uh I believe like in job interviews nowadays I perceive like I had to tell more about my history like in a free way. Like the last interviews that I took is more about that, not heavy like a regular questions. But all right, they want to know about like where you are graduation and the what your last experience, things like that. I believe like is really important. But more than that, I believe like your history and connecting that like with the vision of the enterprise is the most what the interview wants to know about you in a job interview. That in English and Portuguese and any language.
Oh, awesome. What about you, Camila?
There's always the same question in the beginning. Oh, tell me us about yourself. Every interview started with this question, and now I mean notice that the most part of interviews there another question that is you can tell us about some experience when you need a big challenge, and what is the challenge? What do you do? What did you do in that moment? And what did you bring to the company to resolve that problem? What did you feel? Or okay, can you share with us some good experience and results that you bring to the in your last position, for example? So these kinds of questions I always needed to answer. And I think there are scripts for our interviews. And if you can study the most of parts of the questions, when you go to an interview in English, there you rock because it's always the same question. It's very, very difficult. For example, this is a big difference. If you need to participate in an interview from USA, Canadian, Europe, they don't want you to know about you. They only want to know about your skills, your experience, and what kind of results can you bring. But when you need to participate in interview here in Brazil, they want to know you. Who are you? Who are you, Camila? What do you like to do? What's your hobbies? Do you have children? How long are you? Do you have you married? This kind of question didn't exist. Don't exist in the other countries. It's only here in Brazil. So because of this, you need to understand the market to go to the interview. I think
Yeah.
it's
You know what? That question they always do. Uh, can you share a challenge and situation? I believe the HR people have a frame that have it framed in the wall, like the main question they always ask you. And as you've mentioned,
I need you to do this. I need you to do this.
yeah.
You told me and I need to do. I will do.
No, no, but actually, I believe they have it framed like a big picture with the question, Can you share some moment where you had extreme pressure, blah, blah, blah. And funny thing, I believe what you mentioned about cultural stuff, I believe it's different for every different country we are talking with people, right? I've done more than 10 interviews recently, and Americans never asked me anything personal. They never asked my age, never
They
asked
don't
my
ask and they don't like to know. It's interesting. They don't like
no,
to know.
nobody
You
cares.
can share. Yeah, but and they don't like if you start to answer, for example, oh, I'm single. I have. They don't want this. They don't appreciate.
They,
So it's interesting.
they never asked your marital status. They never asked if you have children. Of course, we can have exceptions, but in general, they don't like. And it's hard. It can be a trap because when they ask you, hey, tell me about yourself. Oh, I am 34 years old. I live here. I have ch children. I live with my parents. It's not that they want you to share. They want to know your background. As my friend Tiago, that has many professions, right? They want to know
Exactly.
that kind of details, right? Not how
Exactly.
old are you, Tiago, not if you are single, if you're married, if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, speaking of that, Thiago, last but not least, please, what
This is
kind of
this is
question do
new.
you expect me to?
This is new to me. I'm shocked. This is nice. This is nice. I'm shocked, but this is nice. Okay. I okay.
Are you learning a lot today
Yeah.
about interviews?
And speaking of English level, it's funny because Americans or Europeans in general, they don't ask you for perfection, right? They don't want you to give a TED talk lecture. No, they want that you can at least understand what people are talking with you and that you can express yourself to describe situations, to ask help, to, I don't know, to communicate. But when it comes to Brazil, we have a lot of companies, we have a lot of HR people asking advanced English level, advanced fluent English level,
Yeah.
but they are not fluent
Mm.
and they are asking perfection. And sometimes you never use this level of English working on this role. Like, okay, I'm going to be a driver here in Brazil. Oh yeah, so we need you that you speak fluent English. Makes no sense at all. So that's a difference. I've heard a lot of times, look, your English is better than my Portuguese because they don't speak Portuguese. So
This is nice.
they always come with that, you know.
It's
Of
good.
course, it's unfair to say that, but yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
So
Let me
so
try to answer that. I I I think I expect question about my professional background. Mm, maybe experience with teamwork and think about the video, how I think about the video and the sales role. It's my role now. How I deal with pressure and challenges. And I also expect uh, questions related to specific tools or process used in the role, like video, the girl in the video, so let's say,
sad.
said
Yeah.
such in my role, in my case, such as CRM, um, cloud platform, communication with clients, technology skills, and I don't expect uh, talk about my personal life, but in Brazil, like you said, and Camille said, it's really common, really
And it's
common,
kind of a ridiculous, right?
ridiculous. Yes, Jesus Christ. Okay. uh,
And also, I was thinking about something. It's it's not always welcome, I would say. I guess I'm not sure because I don't work with HR, human resources, but I believe we don't have to mention all of our background that's not related to the position, that's not related to the field. Oh, unless someone explicit asks, because I can mention that I worked as a car washer. It was my first job occupation. And then I worked in a market as general, I would say general helper, you know. But th this is not related to the field that I'm working right now. So makes no sense to explain. Oh, or I can mention, oh no, when I was working in that field, I started studying blah blah blah. But I'm not sure, but maybe it doesn't make sense to share, to dump all of our history, all of our experiences. And but I am not an expert on that kind of stuff. All that I can say and I can share is from the content that I consume regarding this matter, right? So the third question, I don't know, Camila, do you mind read and answer the third question? It's good because you are an example right now. You are actively working on that matter, so please read and answer to us.
Okay. How do you usually prepare for a job interview? Uh, I always study a lot the job description of the role, so I tried to note the the main words of the main skills that the position needs. Uh, I always study a lot about the company when I know the name because sometimes we don't know. For example, in the last week, I participated in a process, and it was a third company, and they don't give for me the name of the company that will pay for me, for example. So when I know, I try to study a lot about the company, what they need, what kind of product they have, what is the vision of the company, the proposal. And after, I try to do notes about my career and linking about what I did in this position that it can be very good for that position that I'm practicing, that I'm doing the interview. Uh, I don't know that I can explain well. Do you understand? I try to make a link, what I need, what they need, what I have, and how can show for my skills for that position. Probably I do this.
It's interesting because what you mentioned is something real, like when it's an outsourced position, you don't know the company, so I believe it's so much harder.
Outsource position. This
Yeah,
word is
yeah, it's
very nice.
outsourcing. It's outsourcing, like when we have a company that's hiring
Yeah,
to work for a different company, you
yeah,
are we tell it in Portuguese like terceirizar.
é,
Terceirizar. So
empresas de recrutamento, né?
yeah, agencies. We are used to
Agency,
say agencies here in Brazil, but in English, I believe they say
outsourcing.
outsourcing company. We have a big company that hire a lot of professionals and then send them to work in a different company, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and it's hard. I remember the last interview I've done that actually it's for that position that I am working right now. I studied and I knew the NPS score of the company. Have you ever heard the Net Promote Score? So when they asked, why would you like to work here? And I said, look, I would like to work in a good company that has an NPS score, blah, blah, blah. So they at least know that I have done my homework. You know what I mean? So I,
Yeah.
I am showing that I'm interested in the company, the position, of course. So this is really a good way to be prepared. And what about you, Thiago? How do you usually prepare for a job interview?
Um, I like to study the company and review the job description, like Camila said. Reflect, I don't know, reflect on my past experience that relates to the position. I make the link, like Camila said, but another way. And I al- uh, I also prepare answers for common interview questions and practicing speaking out loud. And I start up the webcam and talk to me to
Perfect. You record yourself. That's awesome.
yeah to be more light in the interview.
Actually, you're practicing that's an awesome tip. To
Yes,
record yourself and then to watch and take some notes. Oh, I could say that in a different way. Awesome.
yes. I I I started a webcam. I see myself speaking, and then I see again. I watch again the film, the video, and I can feel if I'm not good. I'm confident. I'm stating okay. Interview. I think it's that Is for job interview.
Awesome. Awesome. What about you, Pedro? We have just 2 minutes.
Right, I will be fast. But I totally agree what Camila said about like how the way she prepared for a job interview. I do the same most of the time. Another thing that I want to add, because like I don't know you guys, but I have like a basic presentation about myself, so I try to adapt it, like for interview, like when I try to when I saw like like some words that the job wants or some kind of experience, and I try to adapt to that. And first of all, I just see like write out like all the tasks that I would like to say, but I perceive like that's not so much good for me. So nowadays I like to try to adapt my presentation with bullet points, like try to do like in the beginning, the middle, and the last of the interview, because for me you're not restrict about just some words. You can like improve like you can do improvisation during the interview, and it's very good because when you are nervous and things like that, the words just miss. So it's interesting to have like a background playing.
Awesome. Awesome. It's funny. It's funny that when we talk about the job description and job requirements, we most of the time we don't have half of the requirements read. At least I feel that I don't have the requirements because they ask a lot of things. People, we don't have time for nothing. It was an awesome conversation. Thank you so much. Please go to the survey URL and leave your evaluation there. And I hope I can see you the next week. Okay?